The United States has imposed 50% tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Canadian goods after last-minute trade negotiations between the two countries failed to reach an agreement, escalating tensions between the long-standing allies and major trading partners. Well, the new tariffs took effect shortly after midnight on Saturday and cover roughly 5% of the goods Canada exports to the United States, worth around 20 to 28 billion US dollars, and the affected products include a wide range of Canadian goods, while existing US tariffs on sectors such as steel, aluminium, and automobiles remain in place. Well, the dispute intensified after 3 days of negotiations in Washington failed to resolve differences, and the original tariff deadline was Wednesday, but US President Donald Trump extended it by 3 days to give both the sides more time to reach a deal. Well, despite the extension and last-minute talks, negotiations broke down late Friday, and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer said that Canada had declined to finalize a trade agreement under terms that were discussed earlier in the week. He accused Ottawa of introducing new demands and reversing previous commitments, saying the changes had disrupted the balance reached during negotiations. Washington said that it had offered Canada favorable treatment compared with other major exporters to the U.S. market, and a senior U.S. official said that Canada had sought concessions involving steel, aluminium, automobiles, but the Donald Trump administration was unwilling to provide them, and Canada gave a different account of the failed talks. PM Carney said that last-minute changes proposed by the U.S. were unfair and economically damaging and raised questions about the reliability of any future agreement. Carney also announced that Canada would respond with reciprocal measures, and he said that if the U.S. imposed 50% tariffs on roughly $28 billion of Canadian goods, Canada would match them dollar for dollar to protect Canadian workers and businesses. Carney also suspended trade negotiations and directed Canada's negotiating team to return to Ottawa. He said that Canada had negotiated in good faith but was not prepared to accept a deal at any price or simply meet an imposed deadline. The Canadian government is expected to announce additional support for workers and businesses that are affected by the tariffs. Carney has also warned that Canada needs to diversify its economy and reduce its dependence on the U.S., which currently accounts for around 70% of Canadian exports. Well, the economic stakes are significant, and the U.S. and Canada exchanged around $880 billion worth of goods and services last year, making their economies deeply interconnected. And the new tariffs could increase costs for Canadian exporters while also raising expenses for American businesses that depend on Canadian products and materials. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce described the tariffs as a major blow to North American competitiveness, warning that they could hurt Canadian businesses and investment while increasing costs for Americans. And Ontario Premier has also backed Ottawa's response, calling for Canada to remain united and support a strong tariff-for-tariff, dollar-for-dollar approach. And this dispute could also create uncertainty for the future of the US-Mexico-Canada trade framework, which is crucial for industries across North America. And the latest tariffs reportedly apply even to some Canadian goods that previously received preferential treatment under the agreement. Well, the political impact could be even greater than the immediate economic fallout, and Canada and the U.S. have traditionally maintained close relations as neighbors, allies, and major trading partners. Their shared border stretches roughly 5,525 miles, with huge volumes of people and goods crossing it every day, and the latest escalation now leaves both the nations facing higher trade barriers, greater uncertainty, and the possibility of a broader North American trade conflict. And with hundreds of billions of dollars in annual commerce at stake, the coming weeks will determine whether Washington and Ottawa return to negotiations or allow the tariff dispute to deepen further. That's all for now. Stay tuned to the Savera for more updates. Do like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.